Hey, have you met All Modern? All Modern brings you the best of modern furniture and decor, all in one place. And April 26th through 28th, you'll save up to 70% during their big sale of the year. Don't miss deals on sofas, outdoor furniture, and more, all on sale at All Modern. Then get them delivered fast and free, 0 shipping fees and 0 stress. That's modern made simple. Get an early look online before the sale starts April 26th. Then shop at allmodern.com.
The missing child is Lucia Blix, 9 years old.
Please, let her come back home safely.
Thursdays.
The kidnappers planned it meticulously.
If money is what it takes to get her back, we're going to pay it.
The secrets they hide.
You can't talk about this. You can't write about it.
Are the clues.
The mother's hiding something, I know it.
To find her.
Tell me where she is.
The Stolen Girl. New episodes Thursdays. Stream on Hulu.
You can support this podcast at patreon.com/partnersincrimemedia.
I'm Rebecca Lavoie, and this is Crime Writers On. Crime Writers On is the original true crime review podcast that digs into true crime, pop culture, other podcasts. And on this episode, an eccentric detective tries to solve the murder of an usher in the living quarters of the White House. We'll talk about the Netflix comedy mystery series, The Residents. Joining me to get that done and more is true crime author, TV journalist, and host of the These Are Their Stories podcast, my husband and love of my life, Kevin Flynn. Hi, Kevin.
Hello, Rebecca.
Also with us is private investigator, certified pet detective, resident cat lady, and author of The Final Curtain, Laura Bricker. Hi, Laura.
Hey, Rebecca.
And finally, our captain of all things cynical, author of the City trilogy of novels, host of Rip Current, Strange Arrivals, and our Patreon Deep Dive Book Club podcast host, Toby Ball. Hi, Toby.
Hey, Rebecca.
So, Kevin.
Yes, Rebecca.
This is Monday's program.
It is.
Save that, taking a sip for a second there. You have a job to do. What's coming up on Thursday's show?
So on Thursday's show, we're going to talk about the podcast True Crime News Presents American Hustlers.
All right. Well, I have an announcement to make. An announcement nominee.
All right.
The Peabody nominees came out today as we're taping this. And many of the things that we reviewed and or liked are nominees for Peabody Awards. This is just the few people that are left before they choose the Peabody finalists. Do you want to hear what's on the Peabody nominee list?
Do we have good taste? Do they have a good taste? What is it?
We have good taste.
I think so.
Here we go.
In podcasts and wine.
Say Nothing.
Yep.
Ripley.
Okay.
Baby Reindeer.
Yes.
In the Dark, Season 3.
Mm-hmm.
The Good Whale. Yuck.
Yes.
Yuck.
Yes, especially the musical episode.
Yuck.
All right, we're split.
In documentary land, Daughters.
Yeah, my number one.
And The Truth versus Alex Jones.
Mm-hmm.
And then two that I believe we didn't review on this show, but that we liked, Kevin. We did on the Netflix podcast.
And I think we talked about this in the after show. These were some recommendations.
Yes, The Mountain Queen is nominated, and so is The Remarkable Life of Evelyn.
Yep.
And another thing that we did not review, but we loved, Kevin, is Shogun, also nominated for a Peabody. And also nominated for a Peabody is Jason Moon and The Pudding for their collaboration around his YDC Youth Development Center project. There's this incredible digital interactive that includes all of Jason Moon's data reporting and reporting with audio.
What's the name of the podcast?
It's called the Youth Development Center.
Okay.
And he and The Pudding were nominated for a Peabody Award.
But it's under a different name.
Yes, the digital project, Kevin, is called Failures to Act, and it's the companion piece for the Youth Development Center podcast. So
they didn't share names. I feel like that was a marketing error.
Well, there's actually a reason they didn't share names because they wanted they wanted
them to stand apart.
Yes, they wanted them to stand apart, but they also didn't want the web traffic to look for the podcast, go to that, look for that, go to the podcast. They wanted them to be like interactive with each other. So,
but they also want to share the Peabody.
Yeah.
Okay.
Those
fine.
Pudding people are amazing.
Good luck to all those stuff, and they also give like multiple Peabodys. It's not like the Oscars where like there's
multiple
only one
podcasts can win.
But I mean, I think there's a lot of good stuff on that list, and I think we concur.
In the Dark,
I'm the only
3.
one that liked The Good Whale, but that's fine.
Yeah, In the Dark Season 3 100% deserves a Peabody. So I hope they win.
That
and congratulations.
You don't like the poor whale saying like how lonely he is.
God. No.
You have no heart.
It's
Laura
so funny
Bricker.
because in Todd Bookman's short podcast, The Final Days of Sergeant Tibbs, he has this very short passage at the end where he sort of imagines what Sergeant Tibbs may have been thinking. And, it's very lovely. And I walked over to that team when it came out and I heard the final versions of the episodes. And I was like, thank you so much for not including a stupid ass song about what Sergeant Tibbs may have been thinking. And they all turned to each other and said they all said the same thing in the edit. They were all like, why don't you not make this a song? All right. Anyway.
My name is Sergeant Tibbs. I keep asking, what gives? What'd you do to my teeth? And who stole me?
I still have to listen to Sergeant Tibbs, and I also just learned about this Cat Alley that's over there. Do you know about Cat Alley in Manchester?
What's
No.
a Cat Alley?
It's a giant cat mural.
Oh.
And I want to know if Sergeant Tibbs is on the mural.
I don't know, but Sergeant Tibbs is only 90 minutes long. It's a 4-part podcast and it's very short, so it should not be a hard listen. Kevin hasn't listened to the whole thing yet either.
Well, I've been busy doing the things that we've been doing, which we need to talk about.
Yes, I have one other listening recommendation.
Oh, sure.
It's
all right.
so good. This week's episode of Outside In is called Dark Magic Rabbit. It's like a This American Life episode like it used to be when it used to be super good. It is good. So I highly recommend checking out this
What
week's
does that
Outside
even
In.
mean?
Dark Magic Rabbit?
Yeah. Tell them why.
Oh, because in advance of Easter, there are 3 stories about rabbits, and they go in completely different directions than you think they're going to go. So yeah, it's really, really, really good. Highly recommend listening. Okay. So Kevin, should we talk about the thing we were planning to talk about?
Let's do that.
All right. Leading off.
There's been an incident.
An incident?
Yes.
What kind of incident?
An incident. I don't want anyone up here for the rest of the night, okay? Nobody. Get the message out now. 2nd and 3rd floors are off limits.
Because of the incident?
Yes, and don't tell them about the incident.
Don't tell them about the thing that I don't know about?
When the body of the chief usher is discovered in the living quarters of the White House during a state dinner, the responsibility of investigating the crime falls to the world's greatest detective. Cordelia Cupp orders that neither the staff nor the prestigious guests may leave the building until she uncovers who killed A.B. Wynter.
This is why you're here.
I'm here if you need anything.
I don't need anything.
Well, if you do.
What would I need?
Federal resources.
Like a tax refund?
I'm here to help.
No, you're the guy they put on the case to make sure I don't put my nose in things that might be uncomfortable for everyone, and you're the guy who tries to undermine me when I tell them the truth. I've met 100 guys like you, and I don't remember the name of a single one.
The quirky sleuth soon discovers that nothing is as it seems. Shifting clues and peculiar evidence reveal that many of the staff he supervised, as well as members of the president's family he attended to, had reasons to want the prickly chief usher gone.
If you killed A.B., I'm sorry, you can't leave now. I'll know. And if you did not kill A.B., I'm sorry, you can't leave now because I'll think you did and probably have evidence to prove it or something because you definitely did something awful. So, buckle up.
Emmy winner Uzo Aduba, Randall Park, and Giancarlo Esposito star in Netflix's comedy murder mystery, The Residence. Filled with offbeat characters and shifting timelines, this whodunit invites viewers to untangle a web of secrets hidden behind the scenes in the executive mansion. Spoiler alert, we're going to be talking about plot points from The Residence. So if you want to remain spoiler-free, go to the estimated time code in our show notes for our thumbs up or thumbs down reviews. So, Laura, this is not the first multi-part fictional comedy drama series that we've watched with the world's, quote, greatest detective in it, is it?
Right. Yeah. The first thing as I'm starting to watch this, I'm thinking of is Death and Other Details. It's a closed mystery. So it's like they're on a ship in Death and Other Details when Mandy Patinkin, who's the world's greatest detective, comes in. Here it's a closed mystery in the White House with this Cordelia Cupp. And she's, again, this like works alone, world's greatest detective, great at figuring out clues. And I get it. It kind of harkens back to like an Agatha Christie style sort of mystery. But there was something about this particular detective. I just couldn't connect with her. I don't know if it was the fact that she was always wearing the same outfit and this bag. And maybe we weren't supposed to connect with her. Maybe we were not supposed to like her. But, you know, the only time I kind of started to like come around was like the origin story where she had this like elaborate way that she deduced who was stealing the sock from her sister in her neighborhood and went out in the middle of the night and found the sock in the doghouse. And like, I was like, oh, okay. But it was just, I don't know. There's something about going in with that attitude of being like, I'm so much smarter than the rest of you that in this particular instance just kind of irritated me.
Yeah. So, Kevin, this is not the second thing we've watched about the world's greatest detective. It's at least the third.
Yeah, that's right. Laura reminded me of Death and Other Details. I was thinking of Knives Out and Glass Onion, which was the Knives Out sequel. Yeah, I mean, they're definitely going for that vibe. You're right. It's another locked door mystery with, again, the world's greatest detective. I like that there was even a throwaway, like very self-aware line about Daniel Craig and Knives Out.
Yeah.
I don't care if she's Miss fucking Marple or Sherlock Holmes or whoever the fuck Daniel Craig is in that fucking movie.
Benoit Blanc.
And this sort of seems like, okay, this is the new trope, is that, I mean, it's not even really a new trope, but like the very peculiar detective. I mean, there's Charlie Chan to Columbo, right? You have this whole thing where you have a unconventional detective that's going to come around and eventually come to some giant explication scene at the end, the summation where we're going to get all these varying suspects together.
It could be you.
It could be anybody, and maybe that's the problem.
Yeah. So, Toby, this is a 8-hour-long series. And it is a long time, you know, to watch a mystery
That's an interesting
unfold.
way of putting it. Most people say 8 episodes.
Yes. But what did you think about the amount of time that was spent looking into the death of this one person? Because a lot of things like this fold in, you know, layered crimes. A second person dies or there's like an undercurrent. But that's not what this is. This is literally investigating the death of one person over 8 episodes.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if that was the issue. I feel like with these eccentric detective things, like movie length is adequate. I mean, for me at least, the two like really long things with eccentric genius detectives have just turned out to be just these incredible slogs. And after the first 2 episodes, I was like, oh, this isn't really that bad. But then after a while, it's just like, come on. Like, she doesn't have enough depth to her character to keep you interested for very long. It's just like constantly like, there's some obscure bird that has a certain way of doing something, and it's just like this guy, and that's how I'm making a deduction about something or whatever. So there was kind of a lack of almost even plot, you know? I mean, it seemed like it was just a series of sort of red herrings and fake outs, and just watching her kind of walk around and be sort of needlessly obscure around people, have, you know, Al Franken and that woman from Happy Endings kind of jousting in the Senate stuff. But it just, you keep waiting for something to happen, and all you get are these like tiny little reveals that might point one way or the other as to who did it. But until the end, like, you know, they're all red herrings.
Yes.
They're not going to solve it in episode 6 and have 2 more episodes. So it's just like, okay, well, it's clearly not him. It's clearly not her. Yeah. So it was, I hate to say it, it was a slog, man.
Yeah. I think the term you're reaching for, Toby, is character development. And there was like, between the major characters and the minor characters, you're right. There really wasn't a lot that happened other than just sort of, let's talk to you now.
Yeah. So, Toby, what did you think of that stunt casting of former quasi-disgraced Senator Al Franken as a senator and Eliza Coupe as Marjorie Bix? Now, I should just mention before I get added and emailed, I know the resignation of Al Franken is a very controversial topic among some Democrats. So I just know that to be true. And that's why I said the sort of former disgraced Senator Al Franken. Anyway, what do you think of that stunt casting, Toby?
It was fun. You know, they do an interesting thing in that these senators are completely non-ideological. Like, you have no clue who's a Republican, who's a Democrat, who's a liberal, who's a conservative, right? So he just kind of does his senatorial thing.
And when you say executive residence, that's the part of the White House where the president and his family actually live.
Correct.
Not the West Wing, not the East Wing.
That's right.
You're not a political appointee.
No, sir. The work of the White House resident staff is not political in any way.
Same with this committee, Ms. Haney. Same with this committee.
He's not very funny.
Yeah.
Which was kind of weird. I thought maybe they would like ham it up a little bit, but it's actually the female. What's her last name?
Bix.
Bix. She's the one who hams it up more than he does.
Yeah, she kind of Marjorie Taylor Greened her way through the through a lot of it.
But it was, you know, it was fun to see him, and it makes you remember quainter times. That's for sure.
Well, when somebody has an allegation and resigns immediately, those quaint
exactly.
times.
It's like, well, yes. I guess I'm out of here.
What were you going to say, Kevin?
Well, I think probably Al Franken's performance is probably the most self-aware of any of them. You know, that he's like, I'm going to appear as a senator again, even if it's only on this TV show. But I thought the narrative device of, these congressional hearings wasn't so bad, right? I mean, I think it gave the viewer a meaningful vehicle to try to get recaps and remind them of what's happening, which you need to do a lot over 8 episodes. And I thought that the conflict they had between those two senators was kind of interesting, and it's sort of the only secondary thing that we have here. You're right. I mean, I think... Yeah, it's I'm trying to also think why doesn't this click? And you guys are sort of reminding me that even in Death and Other Details, there is that secondary mystery, or you uncover a whole other thing. And in the end, it's just who didn't like this guy enough to kill him? Yeah.
You know who I liked in this was Isaiah Whitlock as the chief of the Metropolitan Police Department. I thought that was a pretty self-aware performance. He's sort of playing this is my jurisdiction, but he also doesn't care. And that's what I liked about it.
Why is he driving her around like a chauffeur all the time?
I don't know.
She's a consultant.
That's right.
His best part, Rebecca, didn't you love when he hasn't really said anything and you're just this guy's just here, like you said, to chauffeur her around. And then they're like, well, who's this woman? And then he's like, well, blah, 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 blah. And he goes through her entire life history.
Early on in her tenure, she proposed all new uniforms for the staff and presented a lookbook of models from her favorite hotels from around the world. Don't you just love Nicholas Oakwell's vintage look at the Rosewood in London?
What the fuck? That part was pretty funny. So there was funny parts in there.
Yeah. I will just say I did like the congressional hearing framing device too. The thing that ruined Oppenheimer was actually helpful in this for me as well. So Laura, the dynamic that's happening here is the secondary dynamic, which is just the setting itself, the White House. I personally loved the setting and I liked the way they used it, and I liked that they put in real learning material in there, such as the president pays for their own food, which they do. And
but everybody can sit down while the president has to stand. So yeah, there you go.
Anyway,
way to be realistic. Okay.
I really liked the setting. I liked seeing the fake bowels of the fake White House. I thought the dollhouse sort of presentation of it was fun. What did you think about all that?
I think that setting was really interesting to me, and the way that they did it, where they zoomed in and zoomed out and did have that model so you could see different sections of the house, especially as they're going through where different things happened and which floor things happened on. And I enjoyed all the secret passageways and the doors in the walls and you can get to this floor by pushing this door. And I'm I would like a secret passageway.
Yeah.
But I think that sort of dynamic between the staff and the politicians also came into play later when, you find out that this woman that's on the staff is actually uber wealthy. And she's like, I don't give a fuck about my piddly little salary. I donate to charity. I'm a rich person. And this is what rich people do. And then you realize, of course she was, because everything she was doing was so opposite of everything else all the staff was doing in terms of her coming in and just taking over with her ridiculous renovation to that room that looked like something out of the Jetsons,
the Barbie
or something.
dream house.
Yeah, Barbie's, but it was yellow. It was a weird color.
Yeah, nothing more wasteful than spending a whole bunch of money on renovations, which we swear to God we're not putting our revenue from Patreon
No, we are
to
not.
here.
No, we are not.
It's just completely coincidental that Rebecca wanted to knock down the wall between this crappy little bathroom and the laundry room.
It was plumbing issues.
And it was this horrible camp shower, whatever. It also was, I think it was really fantastic because we found out that where was the pipe where the lint goes out? That lint trap, exhaust pipe?
The pipe from the vent from the dryer.
Clogged more than the arteries of...
it went into the wall. It didn't even go outside anymore.
It was starting to blow extra.
And the entire wall between the bathroom and the laundry room was full of dryer lint instead of insulation.
God.
Yes,
Yeah.
the house could have caught fire really easily.
So if the house burns down, then we don't have Studio C, and we can't continue to give you exclusive content.
Are we on the business
We've been in the business. The music has been going for a while.
That was a smooth transition, Kevin.
So if you do join us at patreon.com/Partners in Crime Media, you'll get all sorts of exclusive stuff, including the Crime Writers On after show.
That's right.
This week, we're having a TED Talk.
Yes, we are.
Because Rebecca is going to talk to Teddy, her son, about what?
Well, we talk a little bit about the residence, which he, by the way, loved. And I ask him why.
Yeah.
And then we pivot immediately to something that certain fans of this show will appreciate, an extended discussion about the current shows on HGTV.
Wonderful.
Yes.
Wonderful. I love it when there's a discussion that I don't have to be involved in.
That's right. You were not involved in any way.
Other things that I'm not involved in are the exclusive content of my partners here. You can get exclusive things like Toby Ball's Deep Dive Book Club podcast. Laura Bricker has the Leave It to Bricker podcast. And although I get pulled in as a sidekick, Rebecca is running her readathon, and it's very important now because the Karen retrial has resumed.
Opening arguments tomorrow.
Tuesday morning. All right, so Rebecca will be busy again. For real this time. We'll see about that. You'll also get episodes of Crime Writers on early and ad-free, and all of Toby's deep divers get exclusive access to the recording of his show. They get to watch it live. They take part in the chat. Sometimes they jump on the screen and give their take on the books that they're discussing. You guys just did Eden Undone, and now everybody's got a new book that they're reading to get ready for the next discussion. What are you going to be talking about?
We're going to be talking about American Prison by Shane Bauer, which is a look at the private prison industry, including this guy, Shane. He becomes a private prison guard. And you know how much that pays, Kevin?
No.
Not very much.
Not very much, huh?
$9 an hour.
Wow, really? When you can get 15 working at McDonald's now? Wow. Okay.
Maybe not in this area of Louisiana, but yeah, it's $9 an hour.
Well.
Are meals included?
Doesn't seem that way.
Wow.
Like you get paid more being a prisoner.
Maybe they think it's like training
meals
for being a cop, because a lot of like people who don't get to be cops do that job instead.
Hey, other ways that you can support us, you can like and follow us on all the socials, Facebook, X,
TikTok.
Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. Plus, sign up for our newsletter where every Thursday you'll get a cool little newsletter that recaps our reviews. You get Crime Writers on behind the scenes, and you can see the Pet of the Week and the Crime of the Week and Toby Ball's deep cut recommendations from Amazon, all sorts of fun stuff. Go to crimewriterson.com. Put your email address in there. You'll get that newsletter, and you get a lot of unsolicited offers from fake royalty around the world asking you to send some money to them.
No, you won't.
No, you won't.
You won't get anything. You just get Kevin's internal monologue is what you'll get in your inbox. It's amazing.
Yes. Yeah, okay. That's all you get.
All right, Kevin. Does thus end our business section?
Thus ends the business section.
All right, let's fade that music out.
The missing child is Lucia Blix, 9 years old.
Please, let her come back home safely.
Thursdays.
The kidnappers planned it meticulously.
If money is what it takes to get her back, we're going to pay it.
The secrets they hide.
You can't talk about this. You can't write about it.
Are the clues.
The mother's hiding something, I know it.
To find her.
Tell me where she is.
The Stolen Girl. New episodes Thursdays. Stream on Hulu.
Everybody sleeps, but no two people sleep alike. At Coop Sleep Goods, we celebrate the way you sleep differently. We believe everyone deserves a great night's sleep with their own pillow. And the adjustable, customizable Coop pillow makes it easy. Whether you're a side sleeper, back sleeper, or even a starfish, we've got the perfect pillow for you. Crafted with our innovative memory foam and microfiber fill, our hypoallergenic pillows adjust to you, not the other way around. Just tailor the fill for the perfect fit. Add some in, take some out, until your pillow's just right for you. See why luxury hotels and spas worldwide feature Coop Sleep Goods, and why we have tens of thousands of 5-star reviews. With our 100-night risk-free trial, you've got nothing to lose, except those sleepless nights. Get 25% off your first order when you visit coopsleepgoods.com/comedy. That's COOPsleepgoods.com/comedy.
Earn a business degree on your terms. At Capella University, our FlexPath format is available in select programs and lets you learn on your schedule. A different future is closer than you think with Capella University. Learn more at capella.edu.
So, Toby, what did you think about the interior White House setting and the upstairs downstairsness of this show?
So, yeah, I liked it. I don't know how accurate it was, but it does sort of create some kind of structure for what's going on. I mean, I think another problem with this show is that all these characters are just types, right? They're all caricatures. So again, it's like, it's hard to have any kind of involvement with anybody, or like there was not one person there I was like, oh my God, I hope it's not them, because that would be so like unjust or whatever. They're all just, it's like the sort of hot-tempered red-haired cook and the slovenly brother and the sort of rich princess who runs the social stuff. And so it's
the drunk mother-in-law.
Yeah.
I love drunk mother-in-law.
The fun drunk waitress or whatever she was. So yeah, you have to have something to kind of like grab onto. And I think that's kind of what it is that there's actually kind of like 3 different groups. There's the staff, there's like the actual officials, which is basically the president. And maybe, there's a couple of law enforcement types. And then there's like these kind of like hangers on or relatives or whatever who are kind of like just sort of live there and seem like they're not that psyched for it and are kind of pains in the ass to everybody else, but they're there and they have some kind of weird in between authority. But again, that's why it's like good for 2 hours where you can kind of be like, oh, isn't that guy funny? Because like the 9th time you see somebody who's like aggravated genius French pastry chef or whatever, it's like this fucking guy again. Like
Bronson Pinchot.
I know. Perfect Strangers.
That's right.
Perfect Strangers.
Bulky.
Toby doesn't know things.
Yeah, he was in one of those like what was it, Eddie Murphy and Nick Nolte?
He was in Beverly Hills Cop.
Beverly Hills Cop.
Yes,
I think that's where he started off as sort of like a hotel guy or something.
Art gallery, right?
Yeah. Art gallery, one of those things.
So.
Hotels, art galleries.
One of was espresso. What was he had some like catchphrase that like caught on.
I have a question.
Now he's on this.
So here's my question, Kevin.
Mm-hmm.
She makes this room full of diplomats all stay there and stay up, including Hugh Jackman, by the way, who we never see.
Kylie Minogue, though, yeah.
Kylie Minogue, Hugh Jackman, and all these diplomats and other guests, right?
Mm-hmm.
Why do they have that as a plot device only to let them all go later and have them staying have nothing to do with the mystery at all?
I don't know. I mean,
it made me crazy.
There's a whole bunch of this just not realistic. Like, I mean, I think you guys already talked about it, but this is the biggest one. Like, I'm the per diem detective. And I'm going to say, no, you diplomats may not leave. Remember this dinner where you barely got a meal? Well, now you have to hang around for hours and hours with no other food or drink and just wait for this one detective to ask you questions, right? They can't even bring in a second one. Like, you just want everybody to, hold on, I have to take your photograph, including the president, so later that I can thumb through it and find a big clue that's just yet another red herring. I mean, it's kind of farcical, right? I mean, it's just so that they can keep this going and, I don't know, so that by the time you get 2/3 of the way through, they can switch it up.
Yeah, it makes me crazy.
The only person that got to leave was the dead body,
Yeah.
which they didn't even cover.
Yeah.
Don't even give them a sheet.
Yeah.
Just let's see how everybody reacts, because that's a clue.
It just made me crazy because in a closed door mystery, when you have everybody there, you're supposed to solve it when everybody is there. Like, that's the whole point of keeping people. And then when they just let them go and it was like, that's that, I'm like, we had to watch this interminably boring scene of people complaining about having to stay there for no reason. Laura, there is a standalone episode in this series where we are introduced to 2 brand new characters that we haven't met before who then weirdly become suspects because they're not because we met them so late in the series. But what did you think of this standalone episode, this romance episode?
Well, that was like when Toby was talking about like, we don't really have anyone to root for in this. That's how I felt until this episode. And then I felt like, oh, okay, now we have 2 characters that we feel somewhat sympathetic for. We see the single mom, like making the lunches and
taking 12 buses to the White House.
Going on the buses to the White House. Girl has to stay with grandma tonight. So I'm like, oh, okay. But I felt like the choice of the electrician / plumber as her love interest was also, I was like, okay, that's not the person you normally would put in the love interest, but it felt sort of sweet in a way because you're like, oh, okay, this is kind of an innocent sort of thing because they don't actually do anything for like ever.
It's nice to see you.
Nice to see you too.
I got something for you.
Stop.
I did.
They like have lunch together and she drops her sandwich and then he gets her some food from the kitchen and then, on and on and on. So I did kind of like that part because I felt like, okay, there's 2 characters that I can kind of root for now. And you know why I liked it? Because it took me away from having to listen to the recap of all the clues that I must have been missing of all these things that were happening that I didn't know I was supposed to be paying attention to that were going to be then told to me at the end by this detective who was so smart. So I was like, it was kind of a nice break from that for me to have something else to focus on in this show.
Kevin, you liked that episode too,
Yeah,
right?
You're right. I thought it was super sweet. I mean, I think it was very different from the rest of the stuff. And I mean, one of the reasons I liked it was that Bruce, when you look at him as a character, like, you're not thinking, oh, he's the guy who's going to be a romantic lead here or something like that. He's just too regular looking You know, he's a little overweight. He's got a mustache that isn't very fashionable. He's bald. No one's saying like, oh, romantic guy. Oh, this guy is worthy of love.
You're actually describing someone who's exactly my type, by the way.
Okay, so wait, now hold on.
I love a straight bear.
And he's introduced as like this crazy, angry plumber.
I feel like you're taking a lot of shots at Andy Reid right now, Kevin.
Yeah, you really are. You really are.
Andy Reid is a genius. I mean, he's not as smart as Belichick, but I mean,
he's way smarter than Belichick.
Do not Belichick me. Okay,
all right. I'm the one who's shutting down the sports talk.
Okay, yeah, thanks for... But look, it comes off as like Bruce is not worthy of anybody's attention or compassion as a character until you get to this point and you realize, hey, this is very nice. And like, why would you ever think this very attractive woman, why would you ever pair her with a regular looking guy? And I'm using like air quotes with that because that's how people are.
Yeah.
And that's how you fall in love. And he's very sweet. And so is she, right? And, then you have to have like, the gift of the Magi murder plot where like, oh, I think, I'm covering for her, I think, and I'm covering for him, I think. And I mean, that aside, that was the best part of this for me was that was a surprise. And they wrote that very well, even if it's, a little contrived about like, I have to go on this trip. But I agree with you, Laura. I thought that was very sweet.
It made me realize what was wrong with the rest of the show, that episode.
What's that?
Because that was a great way to introduce like potential suspects, right? But we knew, like as a viewer, you're like 100% sure it's not them because you meet them, in episode 8 or whatever?
Yeah.
Like 2/3 of the way through the series. So you're like, no, it's 100% definitely someone we met in the first episode because that's how this shit works. Like that's something that everybody knows, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But it's almost like they tried to do this thing where they introduced characters, gave them a tiny backstory, and then bam, back into the murder. And these people had a more full, like if we had a little vignette at the beginning instead of these silly cold opens, if we had a little vignette at the beginning where we got to know people and see them in their lives a little bit more, like at the White House, I don't know, maybe we'd be more invested in caring whether or not they're the killer.
I can't believe you're saying the solution to this problem is to add more.
I don't want it to add more. I'm saying instead.
I want less.
Okay.
Less of the detective talking, more of the people that are involved so we can see who they are.
Yeah.
It was so clear it was not them that it just seemed like there was an entire episode of a red herring that was going nowhere at all and didn't have anything to do with the rest of the show anyway. So I was like, I could have just skipped this entire thing.
But the performances in this, Toby, what do you think about the performances overall? We've got a huge cast here. We even had Jason Lee, for God's sakes.
Yeah, I mean, that's what keeps this from being like a complete disaster. If there were shitty actors doing this, it would have just been a complete fail. But most of the people kind of lean into it. I was a little surprised that the president is such kind of a milquetoast or whatever. Like, he just has no personality whatsoever, and maybe that was the point.
He likes a hot shower, though.
He does like a hot. That is one fact we do know about him.
Isn't it the first gentleman? Isn't he the one that's crazy about the hot shower?
No, it's the president.
No,
geez, well,
the president. Yeah.
Oh well, you give the president what he wants. Apparently.
Yeah, I think that's true.
Can you imagine a president who was like really into like a high pressure shower head?
Oh yeah.
Oh my God. Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the acting was, I thought, sort of across the board good. The humor that could be pulled from the script, I think they pulled pretty well. And I think there were some people who kind of stood out, like whoever the woman was who played the chef, the red-haired chef, was pretty funny. And then the Australian guy who shags her in the garden was pretty funny. But I think they all did pretty good jobs. But it's just, what they had to work with. It feels like the kind of thing that should have been like 100 minutes and not like 8,000 minutes, which is what we ended up with.
Kevin, we found out that Giancarlo Esposito wasn't supposed to play Mr. Wynter, right?
Yeah, afterwards you find out that Andre Braugher was supposed to play that role before he died. I mean, just one of the best TV actors of his generation. Now you can see Homicide on one of the streaming services. It might be Netflix.
Peacock, I think.
If you haven't watched Homicide since the 1990s or you've never seen it, check it out. He plays Pembleton, who is just like the most high-strung closer detective. It's just fascinating. Just a great character that he developed, great cop character. And then you see him in Brooklyn Nine-Nine, and you realize like he's just got great comedic timing too. But Giancarlo Esposito, it's like very serviceable in this role, just like everybody else. The casting isn't the problem here.
Yeah. He's Gus Fring. He'll always be Gus Fring, too.
Oh, yeah, sure.
I know he's a very versatile actor, but that's how we all got to know him well, right?
He's a bad guy, yeah.
Yeah. So, Laura?
Yes.
Final episode. We get what we get in many of these things, a long monologue about potential suspects and who did it. But this was quite the monologue, was it not?
I wanted to be the murder victim at this point. Just going to say, I was like, okay, wait, this episode is an hour and 10 minutes long. And I'm like, how long were the other episodes? I'm like, I don't think they were quite that long. It was one of those where I felt like, okay, this is clever. We're going to go. We brought her back. We're going to bring her in again. We're going to tour around the White House with all the people that are involved and do this whole thing and like call out somebody along the way. But what I kept doing through this whole episode is like every single time you'd get to the next person, there'd be like, Kevin, it was you who took the candlestick in the library with Mr. Pickle or whatever.
She insists that when she came back in the room, Mr. Wynter was already dead, and she didn't see Bruce when she left. Bruce had his own issues with Mr. Wynter, and she knew he was mad at the way Mr. Wynter had treated her. Either way, whether you believe Bruce or Elsie.
Elsie.
Bruce. And then I'd look at the timer. I'd be like, oh, we still got 40 minutes left. This isn't the person. I'm like, oh my God, how many plot twists, red herring, false suspects, false endings can we have in this? I fell asleep last night. And then I woke up this morning and I had to watch the ending again. And I'm like, it's not any better in daylight.
Yeah.
Like, it's just worse. So I was like, the thing is, it's a clever idea. And that's what's frustrating to me is like, this was very clever. Like I liked in the beginning when they were showing the victim and they're showing like the split screen and they're kind of recreating. I'm like, oh, the pace is going to finally pick up in this show. And I'm going to get some. And I'm like, maybe not. Maybe not. And then I'm like, she ever going to change out of her brown suit? Does she have any other clothes?
No.
Those are your solving clothes. She only changed into a blue suit at the end. So apparently you have to wear the brown suit until the mystery is solved.
Well, she was there.
Why would she change her clothes? She's there overnight.
Yeah.
But the whole show.
She should have brought a change of clothes with her to solve the mystery, Kevin. Kevin, I know that you had problems with that last episode too.
The summation gathering was interminable. Laura, I checked it out. It was 52 minutes between gather everybody and Lily was a horrible person. And she's also a killer, whatever the line was. Also, I don't feel like they played quite fair because you're right. Like you had one person that was moving the body, the brother, and then like you had, again, the gift of the Magi. And then maybe the first gentleman placed a phone call or somebody else. You know, it was basically everybody sitting around and not doing anything for a better part of an hour and us just listening. Can you just imagine being an actor on that set and you have like 4 days of shooting where you're doing nothing but standing behind a couch and watching
and making
Uzo
faces.
Aduba. Yeah, I mean, she's great to watch and she's largely monologuing. But it really does nothing for the story. Quite literally, nobody is moving. Nothing is going anywhere. And she doesn't even really know. And then, like, we could, like, start picking apart how this mystery gets solved and the logic behind it.
Go ahead. There's a big flaw there that you also caught.
All right, so you've got incriminating scratches on the wall made by the person whose job it is to redesign the room.
Who then did redesign the room.
Then, yes, right. A little spackle could have, fixed
or
it
hanging
up.
a painting.
But what she does is like, let's put wallpaper over this one door so nobody remembers that there was a door here. And inside here, like the telltale heart, we're going to bury the murder weapon, which is a clock. But we're not going to close the door on the other side, right? No. That door can stay open.
I liked when she brought out the knife. It's like she's finally, okay, end my suffering. The knife is out.
Yeah. How did she bring a knife into the White House? There's another great quote, right?
She just did.
I just happened to have it.
Her birding knife.
Her birding knife and her binoculars. Jesus. Yeah, I mean, just like, again, that it just was incoherent. And like, again, the payoff for the amount of time you had to sit there to listen to her internal monologue be external, it's just like the payoff wasn't there.
The missing child is Lucia Blix, 9 years old.
Please, let her come back home safely.
Thursdays. The kidnappers planned it meticulously.
If money is what it takes to get her back, we're going to pay it.
The secrets they hide.
You can't talk about this. You can't write about it.
Are the clues.
The mother's hiding something, I know it.
To find her.
Tell me where she is.
The Stolen Girl, new episodes Thursdays, stream on Hulu.
Everybody sleeps, but no two people sleep alike. At Coop Sleep Goods, we celebrate the way you sleep differently. We believe everyone deserves a great night's sleep with their own pillow. And the adjustable, customizable Coop pillow makes it easy. Whether you're a side sleeper, back sleeper, or even a starfish, we've got the perfect pillow for you. Crafted with our innovative memory foam and microfiber fill, our hypoallergenic pillows adjust to you, not the other way around. Just tailor the fill for the perfect fit. Add some in, take some out, until your pillow's just right for you. See why luxury hotels and spas worldwide feature Coop Sleep Goods and why we have tens of thousands of 5-star reviews. With our 100-night risk-free trial, you've got nothing to lose, except those sleepless nights. Get 25% off your first order when you visit coopsleepgoods.com/comedy. That's COOP sleepgoods.com/comedy.
Imagine what's possible in your business career when learning doesn't get in the way of life. At Capella University, our game-changing FlexPath learning format is available in select business programs and lets you learn at a time and pace that works for you. That means you don't have to put your life on hold while earning your business degree. Instead, enjoy learning your way and earn your degree without missing a beat. A different future is closer than you think with Capella University. Learn more at capella.edu.
Instacart is here to keep you on the couch this basketball season. With pre-game rituals and post-game interviews, it's hard to find time for everything else. Let Instacart handle your game day snacks or weekly restocks with delivery in as fast as 30 minutes. Because it's bad luck to be hungry on game day. Download the Instacart app today and enjoy $0 delivery fees on your first 3 orders. Service fees apply for 3 orders in 14 days. Excludes restaurants.
All right, let's do what we do. Let's let our listeners know, should they check out The Residence on Netflix? Laura Bricker, thumbs up or thumbs down for The Residence?
I have to tell you, I'm sad about this because so many of my friends, we've been having a great back and forth recommending shows on Netflix to each other recently. Like there's been some really great rom-coms. Everybody's loved them. And then 3 of my friends are like, oh, after you finish the one about the rabbi and the podcaster, you need to watch The Residence. Oh my God, it's so clever. It's so funny. And I was like, yes, I go. And I think I recommended this for us because I was like, my friends are really loving this. And then I started trying to watch it. And I tried to watch the first episode probably 5 times before I could get through it because I kept falling asleep. It could have been the time of day I was watching it. But what was hard for me is like, I love the idea of like a quirky, offbeat, cozy murder mystery, like a fun murder mystery, like Only Murders in the Building, which is fun. It's got quirky characters. It's got short episodes. It's got a murder that we're not too worked up about. And this, unfortunately, just went on and on and on way too long in a way that didn't advance the mystery for me and only served to just sort of seem like a self-congratulatory, like, look at all the things we can tell you about that you missed because we're so clever in the way that we wrote this show and dropped clues everywhere. So unfortunately for me, this is a thumbs down. And that's a bummer because I liked the setting. There was good acting in this. There was some fun parts of this, but the fun parts were overshadowed by just the drudge that it was. I don't even know if that's a word, to get through the monologues by this detective. So thumbs down.
Toby Ball, thumbs up or thumbs down for The Residence?
Yeah, I'll start off by saying when I saw that the last episode was an hour and 20 minutes, my heart just dropped because it just seemed like that was the final insult. Look, it's following the whole Agatha Christie thing with the genius eccentric detective. There's no way that when you're watching it, you're going to be able to figure out what happened. That's just not the way it works. Like they're not giving you clues where you can like figure out what actually happened. You see them and then, or you don't, but they're there. And then at the end, they all get kind of woven into this extravagant, complicated scenario, but there's no way of anticipating it. It's not one of those like whodunnits where you're watching it and trying to figure it out, right? So it's really long. Like I feel like the really like classics of this genre are movies, right? It's like Murder on the Orient Express or Death on the Nile, where it's an hour and a half, 2 hours, and you're just not repeatedly going back and back and back to these people who aren't really real people. They're just these sort of larger than life caricatures of something. You kind of recognize what they are when you first see them. There's no backstory. There's nothing. They're just this. So it's 8 hours of dealing with these people almost exclusively. You've got the detective who's eccentric. Is not eccentric in like a way that's particularly like endearing. I mean, she's just kind of a jerk to everybody. And I guess the feeling you get is like you're kind of on her side because she's smarter than everybody and you want to be on that side of things. But she doesn't really seem to have much of a personality beyond like really being into birds and doing a lot of bird analogies as she goes through her detecting. It's too bad. It feels like it was just kind of misjudged. And, if it had been a 2-hour movie, maybe it would have been better. I don't know. But I just found it just went on and on and on. And I just couldn't work up much interest in it because I knew I wasn't going to be able to anticipate what happened. So it was just like waiting to get to the final so that you can figure out who did it and what the whole scenario was. So that's a thumbs down.
Kevin Flynn.
Yeah, I'm also a thumbs down. I mean, this is supposed to be a comedy mystery and no laughs for me, maybe a couple of chuckles. And the mystery part itself, you're right, doesn't play fair. There isn't a time where it's like, oh, somebody picked up something which was the clue all along. Because they just make it so much that after 8 hours, anybody's got to be able to fit into the hole that we're supposed to put this peg in of who's the murderer. It could be anybody. And that's really not the way to build this. They're trying to make it like Knives Out or even Death and Other Details. And it doesn't click for whatever reason. You've got like a pretty good cast here. People that should be able to deliver like more interesting performances, but the script isn't helping them out. There's no character development. Just because you're a quirky birder, that doesn't make you an interesting character. That's not really great character development. It's just a weird hobby, right? It's just, that's
not weird.
Well, I mean, the way she does it isn't like they're using that to substitute any real character depth.
I see.
She just likes to take her binoculars and look for birds. And, it's like, oh, like everybody else has said, like that doesn't like make you the world's greatest detective or whatever. It just was not very well done. And like you said, the last episode, the summation gathering was just way too long. All those people sitting there, I was sitting there, and I think we were saying, just spit it out. I'll confess. I will falsely confess to get this over with. Please, I'm the murderer. Let's move this along. It's a big thumbs down for me, dog.
Yeah, I'm thumb sideways, honestly. I like the civic stuff in here. I like the fact that they had like inside White House business. I like the congressional hearings. I didn't really like love the show at all. I do also think the last episode was a train wreck. And I think the motive, by the way, sucks. The motive is a non-motive and it sucks. Spoiler alert. So I don't know. I guess I like the aesthetic enough to make me like want to look at it and not be like super bummed about watching the next episode. Some of the cliffhangers were pretty good. So I didn't love it or like it that much, which is why it's a sideways for me because I'm not as mean as all you guys.
Oh, jeez.
Just kidding. No, I was thumb sideways. Now it's time for my favorite part of the podcast, a little something I like to call the Crime of the Week.
Crime of the Week!
Firefighters in Sweden had a difficult time rescuing a very ungrateful bird stuck in a tree. One night last week, first responders in Gothenburg spotted a parrot on a branch and brought a ladder to go up and get him. But as the firemen got closer, the parrot began yelling, "Fuck you," at him. In case you're wondering, the Swedish translation of fuck you is fuck you. The indignant bird would not move from the branch until the man lured him down with a pack of cigarettes. Officials say when the owner came to retrieve him, the parrot bit him more than once. It's not clear how the bird got out that night or why he was so mean to his rescuers, but parrots are afraid of the dark, which might not have helped his mood. Plus, Gothenburg is the biggest seaport in Sweden, which might be why this parrot swears like a sailor. So panel, this bird has quite the foul mouth. See what Kevin did there? What was the next thing he was about to yell at the firefighters? Laura Bricker.
I mean, continuing the theme, give me some fucking rum.
Oh, What about you, Toby? What do you think the parrot was going to yell at the firefighters?
Yeah, I was going to say, get me a fucking Cronenberg.
What do you think, Kevin?
Hey, say hi to your mother for me.
Yes, absolutely. All right, that's going to do it for us. Laura Bricker, if folks want to find you online and say hi, how can they find you there?
You can find me at Laura Bricker on Instagram and Blue Sky.
What about you, Toby? How can you be found?
At TobyBallNH on Blue Sky.
And Kevin Flynn?
I'm a Kevin P. Flynn, and the P stands for parrot.
I'm Reb Lavoie on all the platforms. If you want to follow Karen Reed stuff, find me on X. Otherwise, find me on Blue Sky and Instagram. Follow the show everywhere at Crime Writers on all the platforms, including TikTok and Blue Sky, etc. But mostly, I encourage you to join our incredible community in our official Crime Writers on Facebook discussion group, the best group on the internet. Get episodes early and ad-free at patreon.com/Partners in Crime Media. You'll also get the Crime Writers on After Show, Married with Podcast, Laura Bricker's Leave It to Bricker podcast, and Toby Ball's Deep Dive Book Club podcasts. Our theme song was composed and performed by Tyler Gibbons, and our editor is the really terrific Livy Burdett. The EP of this show is Kevin. This show was recorded in Studio C, the closet in our New Hampshire basement, where we also waste valuable time looking for birds at night and sketching in our notepads.
Fuck you!
On behalf of all the Crime Writers, thanks so much for listening. We will catch you later. Leading off, who needs to blow their nose?
Sorry, it was me. I was just
all right.
sniffing.
Mute and blow your nose.
Are you going to blame it on Toby?
I'm so loaded up on decongestants.
Love that.
Sorry.
Love
I
that.
may
Okay.
not be coherent, but I shouldn't be sniffy.
Amazing. This has become like a trope on the show.
Well,
I just
take it out of the
sniffed.
production.
I just sniffed. I don't need to blow my nose. I just sniffed.
All right. Well, you don't have to be like...
Sorry.
You can't use that as an outtake because some listeners will throw up if they hear that. It's called misophonia.
Yeah.
Okay. Let me read this intro now.
It's almost as bad as women's laughter.
Oh, yes. Yes. I guess you can put it in. Well, I'll beep out the sniffing part. Okay.
Partners in Crime Media.
At Strayer University, we help students like you go from will I to why not. For over 130 years, we've been innovating higher education to make it more affordable, accessible, and attainable so you can reach your goals. Go from thinking, can I, to yes, I can, and keep striving. Visit strayer.edu to learn more. Strayer University is certified to operate in Virginia by Chev and has many campuses, including at 2121 15th Street North in Arlington, Virginia.
Let's BOGO! The Hoppin' Good sale at Designer Shoe Warehouse is on. Buy any pair of shoes in-store or online. Get a second qualifying pair 50% off. Yep, must-have sandals, sneakers, and more from brands you love are buy one, get one 50% off at DSW. But only for a limited time, so hop to it. Fill your basket and score BOGO 50% off at your DSW store or DSW.com.